Hi everyone, I wanted to give some verbal information about how to complete the high scope daily plan for a preschool classroom. This will be taking just all of those different components of the high scope daily schedule and putting them into a format that would reflect an actual curriculum plan that you would have for one day in a preschool classroom. And so this plan goes through all those components of the daily schedule, and you're just going to put yourself in the shoes of a teacher and plan out what you'd like to implement throughout that day. And this will be applying the content that we've been reviewing and learning throughout the semester. So you can see that the first part of the daily plan always starts with the greeting time. So you're going to put in there what you would do at your greeting time. You're also going to indicate what types of information are going to be on your message board. Again, get creative, pretend it's, a day in the life of your classroom, and just put on there some information that you might announce in your preschool day. I just want to mention too, is as we've learned with greeting time, it's not a typical circle time that you might think of in a regular preschool classroom. You're not necessarily going to sit down, have calendar time, weather, read a story, sing songs. It's not going to be that involved and that long. You're going to greet the children. You're going to go over the message board. You can potentially do, jobs with your students. You might do like a little appropriate, calendar thing, or just talk about what day it is and what's going to happen. But again, it's not a long drawn out process. So again, if you need to refresh yourself on what greeting time looks like, then go back to the course modules, go back to your textbook, and look at what an appropriate greeting time would look like. From greeting time, we go into planning time. Since an early childhood classroom would most likely have 20 children, they'd be split into two groups for planning time, and so you would need two different planning time activities. From your observations, you probably saw, if you observed at the lab school at Harper, that they didn't necessarily do the same things during their planning and recall times. And so pick two different ideas that you could use. Maybe one teacher does this and the other teacher does something else. You also see underneath the planning time title is the IELDS. Again, that stands for Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards. So those are those standards that we've been using the past several weeks when we've been talking about the different content areas. It may sound a little strange to link a standard to your planning time, but again, we always want a purpose and a focus behind what we're doing with our students. And so when we're doing planning time, it's helping them to develop skills as well. So what type of skill, you only have to pick one, do you want to focus on for your planning time? Is it a communication standard? Is it a fine motor standard? What standard is it? So don't overthink it. A big part of planning time is just having children communicate their intentions, being able to have a conversation, think about the details. So you might want to just start to make it easy for yourself. Look at some of those language and literacy standards and think about maybe linking one of those standards to the planning time. You can pick the same standard for both planning time activities and just switch up the idea. So if you need help with this, let me know. Again, when we talked about plans you review, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of examples of planning time and recall ideas that you can use. So go back and look at some of those and apply those to this section of your plan. After planning time, of course, we go right into work time. So you're just going to indicate what the teachers will be doing during work time. Again, it's not a time where you're implementing extra activities. It's a time when you're there to support, observe, scaffold. So again, what are you going to be doing specifically on that day? Maybe on that day you're observing specific children doing such and such. So again, be creative. Let me see kind of your teacher hat and where you're at in this process and thinking through some of those things. After work time is cleanup. So again, come up with a cleanup strategy. How will you have the children clean up for that day? Make it more than just the cleanup song. I think everyone always defaults to that Barney Tune cleanup song. Go and look at some ideas of things that you could do. Be creative about how you could clean up the materials from their work time and insert that in that section on your plan. Again, in that plan to review sequence, we always have planning, then work time, cleanup, and then of course we have the review time. And so for that recall time, you're going to do the same thing that you did with planning. You're going to pick an Illinois Early Learning and Development Standard to link to that, and then you're going to talk about the idea that you're going to have for each of those groups of recall time. Now again, you can do this. I'm just going to suggest that you could keep the same standard for both planning and recall time, and that way you've focused on that standard and you've carried it through for 2 different activities in that day, and so it's really going to help to solidify that skill with the children. It's going to help you be able to assess their understanding of that skill. So again, so maybe you could keep that the same. So I'm not looking for you to make it difficult for yourself to pick just a bunch of different standards. I want to keep it simple and I want to keep it focused. So again, if you're having questions or concerns about how to link the standards to planning and recall time, please email me or call me and let me know, and I can definitely help you work through that. If we go on to the next page here, after recall time, we're going to have snack. So again, keep it simple. What will your snack be for the day? So just list what you're going to have. It's going to be brought in by a student if they're each going to bring their own snack. If you're going to have, you can list a menu for snack. You can make something for snack, whatever you want to put. You don't have to overthink it though. After snack time is large group time. So again, you're going to insert the title of what the activity is. You're going to link 1 or 2 standards to that, and then you're going to talk about briefly what's going to happen in that large group activity. Within that large group activity, I don't want your large group activity to be sitting down and reading a book. It needs to be an active activity. The children need to be doing something. I don't want them just sitting there listening to you read a story. So whether you're singing a song, playing musical instruments, playing a game, doing a music and movement activity, that's what it should look like. After large group, you can see in that same box it says transition. So think of a specific transition. How will you have your students transition from the large group time into the small group time? So again, find an example, put it in there. The final big component of this daily planning form is your small group time. This is easy because that activity plan that you're working on to implement, this is what you're going to plug into that spot. So you already have something determined for this section. So go ahead and just plug that information right in there. And then the final component to your daily plan is just outside time. Again, indicate what the teachers would do during outside time, any specific materials you might need to bring out, anything special that you might implement during that time. So that's what you need to put to complete this plan. I've included this template on Blackboard. You can just call it up, you can edit it, just take out all of the red text in it, because again, I don't need the red text. That's for your benefit, not for mine. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. This is not due until December 3rd, but I wanted to get this information out there soon because I know you have a lot of other things due as well, and so I wanted to give you a chance to get a head start on this as well. So hopefully this little video helped to clarify how to complete this assignment. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.